as well, using whatever sources of material is available to you. In continuation with our discussion on families, today we are going to study one more family. This family is a sort of a last family from our syllabus within the group of dicots. And this family is Aristolochiaceae. It's a very interesting family because this family, even though it is a cosmopolitan in nature, the family is comprising very less number of genera. There are only 7 genera are present which have been included in the family Aristolochiaceae, and almost 600 species have been spread almost all over the world. This family is distributed, even though it is in cosmopolitan nature and found in all 5 continents, it is generally spread below the Capricorn belt. जो कर्कवृत्त आहे त्या कर्कवृत्ताच्या खालच्या भागामध्ये ते विषुववृत्तापर्यंत ही फॅमिली सापडते. So this family is not recorded in cold temperate zone, but it is recorded in the warmer temperate zone, obviously in the tropic and subtropical belt. This family is native of South America, Mexico, Brazil, Peru, and many others. And as well, some members are present in the New World. New World in the sense they are reported even from Australia, New Zealand, and then parts of Java, Sumatra. There are very few genera are present which are reported from the Old World, especially from India, Indonesia, Bangladesh, Assam, and many areas. The genera which are reported in the Old World, they are having a typical tubular fusiform corolla. So that way it can be very easily identified by the shape of the corolla. Whereas those plants which are growing in warmer regions of New World, particularly America, Africa, as well as the European countries, they are having the full shaped corolla. And the corolla is obviously zygomorphic. So from the perianth shape itself, the family has been classified into 2 subfamilies. Today we will be studying this whole group under a single family, and the group is Aristolochiaceae. As far as India is concerned, in India 3 genera are present, of which almost 28 species they have been reported, and they have been reported right from Assam region to foothills of Himalayas to Western Ghats and South India. Generally, members of this family, they are reported from the warmer, dry regions, because the members are basically succulent in nature. And because of that, even in Maharashtra, several members of the family. As India is concerned, we are having 3 genera with us. The most common is the Aristolochia, which is having almost 16 species in Maharashtra, in India, and almost species in Maharashtra. Another genus is Asaram. It is pronounced as Asaram, and it is found in South India, especially in the Western Ghats of Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Todia is a genus which has been found in Assamese region. Now, as far as the plants are concerned, these plants are generally perennial, and they are having a tuberous or corn-shaped stem which is underground and which is perennial. Obviously, the plants are herbaceous. The shoot system is herbaceous. Most of the plants, they are twiners. That is, they are climbers. But these are without any leaf appendages. So there are no any extra appendages are present for twining habit. On the contrary, the stem itself is in nature. Aristolochiaceae is a succulent family and it contains watery juice. Even in Aristolochiaceae, one of my colleague, Dr. Patil ma'am, she has reported a crassulacean acid metabolism in this family, and this was the first report in the world. So we must congratulate her for her excellent work. And this was the first genera in Aristolochiaceae with which a CAM had been reported. Now, this family also shows the aromatic nature because they are rich in glucosides. Obviously, there are some alkaloids and polyphenolic compounds are reported, but basically glucosides are present and phenolic compounds are present. Because of that, the plants become aromatic. As far as the succulent nature is concerned, they are having the presence of water juice, which is very similar to that of Apocynaceae family. I suppose you must be knowing the example of a typical Apocynaceae plant, villosa, which is the climber. The stem, which is aerial one, it is herbaceous, but yes, it is hirsute. It is having a very small unicellular hairs on the surface. It is twining. Very interestingly, the nodes are swollen in Aristolochiaceae. The leaves are exstipulate, alternate. They are always a petiolate. The petioles are much more longer, conspicuous, and they are ridged or notched. The leaves are gland dotted, because of that they are aromatic. The leaves are generally entire and peltate. They are heart shaped, not dentate, and they are having the smooth margins. Even sometimes when the hair is present, the leaves can be called as a glabrous leaves, smooth. Now, this is a typical plant which is present in Maharashtra, particularly around Baramati also. And this plant is Aristolochia bracteolata. Obviously, the name itself indicates that a leafy bract is present at the base of the flower. That's why the flowers are bracteate. See the typical structure of the flower. It is not containing the apex and corolla. It is containing the perianth lobe. So the perianth is uniseriate. So this is typical Aristolochia. It is grown in gardens. Now, this is again another plant of Aristolochia. So you see the structure of this flower. If you see the nature of the habit, you will realize that the flower looks very similar to that of Ceropegia. The only difference is that in Ceropegia, we are having the persistent 5 calyx lobes at the base. And here the calyx lobes are absent, and there is a typical arrangement of a perianth, which is very highly zygomorphic. There is another difference of the Ceropegia, where the perianth, that is a corolla, is dissected. And that's why it is called a alternate flower. Whereas here you can see the corolla is not dissected, it is a funnel shape. And because of that, even the flower, it may look very similar to that of a flower of Ceropegia. It is a morphological resemblance, or otherwise, Aristolochia is a totally entirely different plant. Now you can see deliberately I have shown this LS of the flower, and I want to bring to your notice the nature of perianth. You can see the perianth is uniseriate, and the perianth is divided into 3 forms or 3 parts. At the base, it is having the peltate globose base in which the androecium and gynoecium are present. This is called the peltoid region. Above this, there is a tubular structure, which is a tubular component of the perianth. It is called the formosa. And then at the top, you can see the outer appendages, which are attracting the insects. And this is the last part, shaped. And because of that, even though the perianth is uniseriate in Aristolochiaceae, the perianth is showing a very highly specialized progressive. Now, as far as the Aristolochiaceae reproductive characters are concerned, it has got the inflorescence. Generally flowers are axillary and solitary, as well as sometimes the flowers are born in axillary position, where it may be born in a cymose or a racemose inflorescence. Now the flowers generally, as a whole, they are ebracteate. But particularly in the plants which are growing in the old world, the flowers are bracteate and the bracts are leafy. Whereas the flowers which are present in the new world, they are ebracteate without any bracts. Obviously, the flowers are incomplete because there is no any calyx and corolla. The flowers are highly zygomorphic because of the perianth arrangement. The flowers are bisexual. Very interestingly, even though this has been placed in dicotyledons, it is showing a triangular arrangement. Ovary is epigynous, that is, ovary is inferior. Obviously, the flowers are very large and showy. They are generally brown or blackish brown. So you can see the tinge of a purpleness or tinge of a blackish redness in all these flowers. Now, as I told you, the bract which is present is spathis, not single. Many of the times the bract is persistent, but it may be in the form of a ligule also. The perianth is present, which is a generally monoseriate. Very rarely it is biseriate. The perianth may be having a single lobe or 3 lobes or 6 lobes. Sometimes it may be actinomorphic because of that shape of the perianth, which is tubular, very similar to that of Apocynaceae family, or it may be highly zygomorphic. In that case, it is resembling close to the perianth of the family Bignoniaceae and Proculaceae, because both belong to the order Personales. In Aristolochiaceae also, it is showing very close resemblance with the order Personales. This perianth is peltoid. Also, it can be fused, and at birth condition, it may show the imbricate arrangement. The perianth is large. It is uneven in shape. It is showing an open mouth or tube, and the perianth is badly smelling. So that is the specific character of Aristolochiaceae, that because of the nectaries which are present at the base of the perianth lobe, which is secreting the glucosides, it is badly smelling. Now below that, in the perianth tube, we can find included stamens. The stamen number is always many. Generally, it may be 6, or even it can go up to the 36 also. The stamens are free, but there is one more important character, that the filaments of the stamens, they are fused with the style. And because of that, this particular character is called the gynostenium. The anthers are free and the filaments are fused with the style to form the gynostenium. Obviously, they are admit to the style. These filaments, they are always short in size. The anthers are bithecous. They are opening inside. They are basifixed. And obviously, they are having a longitudinal dehiscence or opening. Now, in Aristolochiaceae, the pollen grains are also of a sticky type. But remember, they are not of a pollinia nature, which can be seen in the family Asclepiadaceae. They are sticky, and because of that, when an insect enters into the perianth lobe, the anthers get attached to the body of the insect, and in this way the cross pollination is achieved. Obviously, because of that, the stamens which are very in number, they are irregular, they are adnate and forming a gynostagium. This is a very unique character which is separating this family from the personals group. Because in personals, what we can find is epipetalous condition. That is the stamens that fuse not with the style, but they are fused with the perianth or they are fused with the corolla. Now, gynoecium, the ovary is tricarpellary to six carpellary. So, it is in multiples of 3. It is syncarpous. The ovary is inferior, obviously. Very interestingly, in Aristolochiaceae, many ovules are present. The number of ovules within per locule, it may range to 8 to 20. So, obviously, the ovules are very small in size. There are always many in number, and they are present on axile placenta. So the placentation is axile. The style is short, straight, thick, and it is present in the form of a gynostenium. That is fused with the filaments of the stamens. Generally, when the stigma is present, the stigma is capitate. It is globose, head. The stigma is separate, independent. And so the stigma is representing the number of carpels. So if the ovary is tricarpellary, we can find the 3 stigmas, a trifid stigma. And if the carpels are more, we can find even the 6 stigmatic condition. Because of this typical nature of freeness of stamens and gynoecium, which is a unique character, this family has been separated from the group personals. Because in group personals, we do know that personals is placed in this bicarpellity. So the ovary is syncarpous and bicarpellary, superior, with 1 or 2 ovules on axial placenta. This placentation may be because of the falsepta, it may become tetralocular, and in that condition, the 4 ovules are present on the basal placenta. And in case of Aristolochiaceae, the ovary arrangement is trimerous. This is a typical character which is similar to that of monocots. Also, many ovules are present, the ovule number is large, and this is again representing a very primitive character, because in primitive monocots, many free ovules are present, or many free ovaries are present. That is, polycarpellary apocarpous condition is seen in primitive monocots. So this particular character we may be discussing when we are discussing its phylogenetic significance. Obviously, as far as the fruit is concerned, it is a septicidal dehiscent capsule. Septicidal means it is green, it is opening by the valves, and it is when it becomes a capsule. The seeds are very small, and obviously they are endospermic. And as I told you, because of the typical perianth structure, because of the nature of the plants, because of the sticky polar grains, the pollination in the family is obviously a. Now this is sort of a diagrammatic sketch of when we study the family. So you can see on the left side of the diagram, you can see the axillary cymoid inflorescence with the typical peltate leaves. At the center, you can see a single flower which is showing perianth without any calyx and corolla. Then if you see the edge of flower, you can see the arrangement of the ovules, where many locules, the many ovules which are placed on axial placenta, and then you can see the gynostogium at the center. The same central position has been enlarged in the right side, which is showing the androecium and gynoecium. So you can see the anthers which are free, but they are fused with the style to show the gynostemium condition. Obviously, if you come to the bottom, you will realize that there is a tiers of ovary, which is showing an axial placentation with many ovules on axial placenta. Then below that, you can see the structure of the seed at the center. Obviously, you can see the fruit on far and it is obviously a septicidal capsule. It is a globose and it is opening vertically. Now this is another genus. Again, I am showing the ray diagram or sketch, schematic sketch, and this is Asaram, plant which is generally found in the Kerala and Tamil Nadu, that is in Madumalai foothills. So here also you can see the figure at the top. The two top figures, they are indicating the nature of the perianth lobe. And here you can see a very typical distinct perianth, which is divided into three parts. The peltate part at the base, the formosa part and the appendage which is present at the top, which is funnel shaped. Now because of this uniseriate perianth, this family is considered as one of the primitive family among the dicotyledons, because there is no any distinctive presence of calyx and corolla in this family. Now again, this is a third sketch of the same plant, and here you see the flower which is present at the bottom, and at the left side top, you can see the nature of gynostemium, where the seeds are attached to the style. The same structure is shown here. So this is a sort of a diagrammatic sketch of the Asaram genus. Now, as far as the phylogenetic significance is concerned of this family, it is expected that this family is an offshoot of Ranunculaceae simply because in Ranunculaceae also we will find many free stamens with short filaments and basifixed anthoglobes. Those stamens are included in Ranunculaceae. Similarly, in Aristolochiaceae also we will find a large number of stamens which are free and they are showing its dehiscence or cohesion with the gynostegium. This particular character, cohesion of the stamens which are present in many pollinants, this is also a unique character which is similar to that of the family Menispermaceae. Now, Menispermaceae family belongs to the series Parietes, the order Parietes, within Thalamiflory, and in Menispermaceae, the fruit character and seed character of Aristolochiaceae and Menispermaceae, they are very close to each other. And because of this family is showing the affinity, close affinity towards the Ranunculaceae as well as towards the Menispermaceae. As far as Ranunculaceae is concerned, it is compared always with the herbaceous Ranunculaceae members, where there is a presence of perianth lobe. Now, in Ranunculaceae, the perianths, they are free, they are globose, fleshy, and they are present in the valvate or imbricate estivation. However, in case of Aristolochiaceae, the perianth is uniseriate. It is not biseriate, it is not a calyx and corolla, but uniseriate perianth is present and it is highly zygomorphic. So obviously this family is showing an advancement, progressive evolution than the Ranunculaceae members. So because of the uniseriate perianth, it also shows a very close affinity towards the coronary group of monocots. The coronary group of the monocots is the one which is showing the perianth which is petaloid, colored. Now in this Aristolochiaceae also we can see that perianth is not sepaloid, it is not green. But on the contrary, it is colored and it is having the various shapes, natures and size and form. So obviously it is highly zygomorphic. So such a type of zygomorphic condition is also found in the coronary family, coronary group. It is not group, it is a series of monocots. The best example is Gingiberaceae. In case of Gingiberaceae, the exact example of gingiber, a very common plant, is showing this typical zygomorphic perianth. So presence of gynostegium, the fusion of floral parts, especially calyx and corolla together, and androstem and gynoecium, and a very high degree of zygomorphy, it indicates the advanced nature of this family. And because of that, because of this advanced nature, this family has been separated from the Reynolds group and it has been placed in the co-angiosperms in APG3 classification system. Also, this family was placed in monoclinidae by Bentham and Hooker, but later on classification was accepted, and all other taxonomies from Cronquist and later Hutchinson and Smith, all these they have placed this Aristolochiaceae, which was very close to Personal's order, but they have placed this in Polygalaceae. It is very similar to the family Polygalaceae, where the orifice is inferior. And because of that, each and every taxonomist, they have treated this family at an individual level without any common trend. Now, because of all these characters, at the moment now, this family is treated as an advanced family among the records, which is showing a parallel evolution with the other personals. Because the parent of the personals, the kernel of the personals, and the parent of the Aristolochiaceae, they are almost morphologically similar. But there's a major difference. And the difference is that in personals, the number of stamens and number of carpels is always limited. In personals, number of stamens is either 4 to 5, but it is always less, even in 1 or 2. And when the stamens are, they are in dynamous condition, that is 2 are longer, 2 are shorter. Similarly, as far as the gynoecium character is concerned, in personals, the ovary is bicarpellary syncarpellary superior, with the unilocular ovule having a false septa, and because of that, it becomes a tetralocular, having a single ovule in each locule based on axial placentation. On the contrary, here you can see that the ovary is of a trimerous condition. It is multiples of 3. So the carpels may be 3 to 6, even sometimes to 8. It is polylocular. Carpels, locules are also many, and within each locule, many ovules are present which are formed in an axial placentation. And because of that, Aristolochiaceae, a family which has been placed in the dicots, it is showing several characters which are close to that of monocots. And because of that, Aristolochiaceae family has been included in our syllabus, because on one hand, this family is showing the close affinity towards the dicots, right from the Reynolds group or Reynolds group, where the parent is present, the free stamens and corolla indicate its primitiveness. The parent lobes and the zygomorphy and the fusion of the androecium and gynoecium, it indicates that this is one of the advanced family among the dogs. Now, obviously, because of this character, this family is also showing, on the other hand, very close characters to that of monocots. Because of that, this family is highly important from taxonomical and phylogenetic point of view. And so remember that Aristolochiaceae, even though it is a small family, this family is having a great phylogenetic significance. And because of that, this family has been included in our syllabus. With this discussion, we have completed our studies of dicot members. We started with the Murumkar. After Aristolochiaceae, we have studied the Nymphaceae family. After that, after these two Reynolds group members, we started our discussion with the Apetalae or Amentiferae group. And initially, we started our discussion with the here we have studied the family Casuarinaceae at the first. It was followed by the family Moraceae. And after family Moraceae, we have studied the family Urticaceae. In all these cases, the flowers are unisexual The flowers are very minute, they are incomplete, and there is absence of calyx and corolla. On the perianth is also absent. And the male flower is represented by only stamen, whereas the female flower is represented by only the carpel. So obviously carpel is also single unilocular containing a single ovule on basal placenta. After that, we have studied the two other families. One was the family Viperaceae, and another family was family Lauraceae, where both these families they are containing the aromatic essential oils. Obviously, Viperaceae family is the climber family, whereas Lauraceae family is a family which is containing most of the trees. The best example of Viperaceae is the Piper nigrum. In Marathi, we call it as the miri, and the Lauraceae is the example what we call it as dalchini or tamalpatra. Today, we are studying the last family of the dicot group, that is the family Aristolochiaceae. So with this, we will stop today with this discussion, and tomorrow at 1 o'clock, we'll start our discussion with some representatives from monocotyledons. So we'll be studying almost 4 families, if my memory goes well. We are supposed to study the family Alismataceae. We are supposed to study the family Hydrocaridaceae. We are supposed to study some members which have been separated from Hydrocaridaceae, and they are the Aponogeton and Najadaceae. So these 2 members or these 4 families will be studying from tomorrow onwards. So with this discussion, I will so that you can go through. So this is the genus Aristolochia bracteolata. Flower structure, the typical flower structure with the very typical zygomorphic perianth, and it is showing the very conspicuous bract at the base. That is called the Aristolochia bracteolata. Now this is another garden, Aristolochia grandis, present in our garden, campus garden. Now this is Aristolochia usilis. It is not the plant which is present in Maharashtra, India. Now this member is from Mexico. Now I have shown this particular LS of the flower, which is showing the perianth, and at the base you can see the gynostagium showing the antherlobes as well as the stem. We can see the 3 components of the perianth, and then this was the sketch of Aristolochia study, which is showing the typical nature of gynostagium and unisexual perianth, and this is the genus Asara. So with all this discussion, let us stop today, and I will close this slideshow and go for the chat box. If at all there are any questions, you can ask me in the chat box.